Tom Bendine with Live Media Now. We're here at the Leesburg Executive Airport this morning, and we're here with Delegate Joe May, the CEO of EIT from Sterling, Virginia. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
And also Steve Hutchens, the President of Atlantic Airways.
Good morning.
Good morning, Steve. Atlantic Airways is one of the flight schools and aircraft services providers that's based here at Leesburg Executive Airport. Today what we're actually going to do is just have a little discussion with Delegate Joe and Steve about how businesses might be using aircraft to conduct business activities around the United States. Joe, could you tell us a little bit more about, when you decided to become a pilot, how you're using aviation for your business today?
Well, our first aircraft that we used in connection with business was back in 1996, and that was the Skylane, which we used for flying, mostly me, around to our various customers who are in a 300-mile radius around the DC area here. In 2003, we purchased our first Cirrus aircraft, and that sort of scaled the effort up.
That's great. I mean, I can really see that if you had to drive to a client that was 300 miles or so away, that would really be very difficult on using traditional aircraft or even public aviation. Steve, can you tell me a little bit about the management and pilot services that you provide to companies like EIT to support their business?
Sure. Well, one of the things that we found is that companies, large companies, have their own flight department, but there really wasn't an effective solution for medium-sized and smaller companies. EIT certainly qualifies as a medium-sized company with offices in multiple locations. So we believe that by providing outsourced pilot services and aircraft management, that it's a very cost-effective solution for EIT and for clients like EIT. Basically what that means is that we take responsibility for managing the aircraft, scheduling the aircraft, ensuring that it's properly maintained and it's in compliance with all the FAA regulations, as well as maintaining things like navigation databases and charts that have to be updated on a periodic basis. The other part of that is, of course, we provide airline qualified, military experienced, capable pilots that fly for EIT with EIT's staff based on EIT's mission. So we bring both complements of pilot services with highly qualified staff and aircraft management in a way that they really wouldn't be able to afford to do the same services at the same rate.
Okay. Thank you, Steve. That sounds like a very comprehensive range of services you guys provide there.
Sure.
Joe, I mean, your company's been using light aircraft for quite a time now. Can you just tell us a little bit about the benefits to your business of actually using these aircraft?
There are actually several. First of all, there's just the issue of time. For instance, when you go to our facility in Danville, Virginia, that's 4.5 hours by car one way. It's an hour and 5 minutes by our small aircraft. But equally to the point, we like the prospect of knowing that our aircraft is managed by professionals. It's flown by professionals. If I feel like flying, I can certainly do so, but I also like the fact that I have a professional available in the left seat if I happen to be the guy in there. And it allows me to do things like prepare remarks or to do some work while we're en route. So I can't do that when I'm driving.
Certainly not. No, we certainly hope not. And yeah, certainly that sounds like really that the light aircraft is a tremendous productivity gain for your business. Certainly, just like you mentioned, your other office in Danville is 4.5 hours away. If you were trying to get some work done down there, a 1-hour trip down there, able to put in really a full day's work and come back and spend time with your family, that sounds like a great productivity benefit. So
it definitely is.
Yeah, definitely. And Steve, you were saying, we were talking earlier about the training that Atlantic Airways provides. How do you normally, support your clients with certain training services?
Sure. Well, Atlantic Airways is a Cirrus standardized training center at Leesburg Airport. So we draw customers that own Cirrus aircraft from around the area because of their requirements to have proficiency training at a Cirrus training center. But equally important, we have community citizens who come in who say they've always wanted to learn to fly, so we can actually start them off in a SR-20 aircraft, which is a smaller Cirrus aircraft, to help them get their private pilot's license. Once they've accomplished that, we can then work with them to get their instrument rating. If they're so inclined, they can get a commercial rating and even work up to the airline transport rating in the aircraft that we have in our flight school.
Thank you, Steve. And then, Joe, as a delegate in the Commonwealth, how do you feel that using light aircraft actually supports your role in your duties in public service?
It actually more than supports, it actually makes it possible, because I actually have to live a dual life or perform dual roles, because I have my job as CEO of EIT, and that requires a substantial amount of travel. And then as a delegate, I often have to chair committees at various places within the state, or have a speaking engagement somewhere that I have to meet, particularly at night. So not at all unusual to make a business call during the course of the day and have a speaking engagement at night and still be back in a reasonable period of time that night. It just makes it possible to do both.
Steve, I've had the pleasure of coming to visit you at your facility, and it's been amazing just to see the number of services that you've made available to your clients, such as student pilots, all the way up to training commercial airline pilots and such. Could you just help me understand a little bit more about your thoughts about setting up this business, and really how you went about selecting the types of services that you're now offering to your clients?
Sure. Well, certainly there are flight schools all over the region where someone can learn to fly, and I guess the question would become why Atlantic Airways versus another flight school, right? Well, the Cirrus aircraft in particular offer a lot of safety features that you don't find in Cessna or Piper aircraft in particular. It is the aircraft with an integrated parachute system. It has advanced avionics. It's a very, very strong composite built aircraft. So there's a lot of safety features in the airplane that allowed us to choose, or really drove our decision to choose the Cirrus aircraft for our training center. In terms of observing airport operations here, since I've been involved with the airport since 1994, I see that a lot of people own aircraft that they just really don't get sufficient utilization from. It's an airplane they fly once or twice a month, spends a lot of time in the hangar. So we were trying to find a way in which we can manage aircraft, provide services to those owners to get better utilization from their aircraft than they might be doing on a regular basis. The flight school allows us to also work with people like Joe, who owns his own airplane, but requires FAA currency checks every 2 years and instrument proficiency checks. Anything that a regular pilot would have to have, we can offer those services as part of our training center with aircraft management, with a fleet of very technologically advanced and capable aircraft.